Today, 17 organizations across Manitoba and Saskatchewan receive federal funding to combat gender-based violence. At a press conference at the Forks, Marcy Ian, Minister for Women, Gender Equality and Youth, unveiled $7.4 million in funding for violence prevention and capacity building.
This funding is about helping these organizations prevent, because that's important, we don't want it to happen in the first place, and address gender-based violence and find long-lasting solutions for their communities.
Ian said the funding will go to Indigenous organizations. According to
Hilda,
Statistics Canada, more than 6 in 10 Indigenous women have experienced physical or sexual assault in their lifetime. Shanley Scott, the executive director at Nway, an organization that works with at-risk youth, says the funding will help them develop a kinship-based model to address the issue.
We often are kind of confined to a Western framework, and so we're going to utilize the funds to develop a framework that is more indicative of who we are as Indigenous peoples and supports the voices of the children we serve, children and youth we serve, as well as the voices of our elders and knowledge keepers.
Hilda Anderson-Pierce is the chair of the National Family and Survivor Circle. She says more must be done to connect Indigenous peoples living in rural and remote communities to these services. According to 2019 Statistics Canada data, women living in rural and remote communities experience intimate partner violence at rates nearly twice as high as those in urban areas.
We need to really be very nimble in providing these resources and building the capacity in remote, isolated areas, because women cannot, and children cannot, and our two-spirit and gender diverse relatives cannot suffer in silence. We need to ensure that they have wraparound supports, that are rooted in Indigenous ways of being, knowing, and doing.
Anderson-Pierce adds that governments must include the perspectives of Indigenous women and gender-diverse people in policy decisions around gender-based violence. Sierra Beton's APTN National News, Winnipeg.